We've been sold a myth that confident artists inspire the most people, but actually, most of the art that you admire was created through those artists' biggest insecurities. Let's have a conversation today about something that most people don't like to talk about, but for us as artists, musicians, and creators across all domains, it's not just important, it's essential. And that's vulnerability. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, like, Dwayne, I thought I was supposed to be confident and bold, commanding. I thought confidence is what inspires people. Well, let me offer you a shift in perspective. Confidence may impress people, but vulnerability moves people. You see, we've been sold this myth that the loudest voice in the room, the most polished performer, the most confident creator is the one that changes lives. But I've come to learn something different. Vulnerability is more contagious than confidence because it's human. It's what makes someone lean into your art and say, I see me in that. It spreads your ideas faster and it multiplies in rooms and conversations and cultures. It slips through the cracks of people's armor and softens their hearts. It invites connection. And that's what we're really after, isn't it? Not applause, but connection. You reveal a scar in your story and people instinctively touch their own. You show them your truth and they start to recognize theirs. That that's the power of art. Now, confidence, that's a good thing, right? Like, learn the techniques, build your skills, and practice your craft. But I tell you what, you can master the piano, the pen, the paintbrush, and still never be seen truly. Anyone can learn a recipe, but few dare to create their signature dish. Anyone can sing well, but few sing honestly. Anyone can take a photo, but few capture the soul. Why? Because it's scary. Being vulnerable is scary, but it's sacred. It's the price of admission to the deeper work. You don't need a green light, you won't get a permission slip, and there's nobody to hire to do the job for you. There's a saying I love about the uncertainty of entrepreneurship that says starting a new business is like jumping out of a plane and building a parachute on the way down. Most times, creating a business, you don't have everything figured out, but you strategize and learn and adapt as you go. And let me tell you, you will never feel ready to be vulnerable, but you do it anyway. You just jump, you leap, and you build your wings on the way down. Create while your hands shake, sing while your heart is pounding, and dance while your knees are trembling. Because somewhere in the middle of your fall, your truth will catch you. And what you thought was an attack by a scary monster living inside of you is actually a warm hug from an angel sent to save you. Now I know what you might be thinking. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's not easy. But look, of course it's not easy. If it were easy, everyone would be doing it. But let me tell you something. It's necessary. The moment you hide, the moment you start making art to impress instead of to express, that's when your soul starts to fade from your work. Now, look, you don't have to overshare. Vulnerability isn't about spilling everything, it's about intentional courage. I remember when I proposed to my wife and I created an entire art show of 10 massive paintings that told our love story. It was big, it was bold and personal. And behind me right now are two of the pieces. That was a vulnerable act. But later at our wedding, we shared our vows in private because my vows was a book of poems over 5 years that I wrote for her, each one highlighting a deeply intimate moment along our roller coaster journey from friendship to marriage. And that book is a wonderful one because it exposes our love in ways that are only meant to draw me and her closer. You see, vulnerability doesn't always mean public. Some art is meant for the world, some is meant for one person, and some just for you. You don't share to bleed, you share to connect. There's a difference. You don't have to write poems about heartbreak to be vulnerable. You can be a comedian, you can be a coder, a choreographer. Vulnerability isn't about what you do, it's about the risk you take when you do it. Every big idea, every revolutionary work of art, every original invention, it began with someone saying that this might not work. That's vulnerability. That's leadership. That's courage. You see, I spent years studying creativity. I read countless research, the biographies, the philosophy, and I took thousands of notes. I waited to feel confident before I shared what I learned. And guess what? That confidence never showed up. But one day, I hit record on this camera anyway. Not because I had the answers, but because I had questions I couldn't ignore. Because I'd seen things that changed me, and I knew that I could help someone else. I didn't start because I was ready. I started because I was moved. And in my fear, I knew that the only way out was through. By the way, if you do want my notes on creativity, just tap the link in my description and tell me where to send them. They're raw, but they're me. All right. So, you want to know what makes timeless art? It's not trends, it's not perfection. It's honesty and it's heart. It's vulnerability that travels through time. In 1847, Emily Bronte wrote, "Whatever our souls are made of, his and mine are the same." How beautiful is that? It describes how love defies explanation, and over 175 years later, we still feel it. Because when someone tells the truth of their soul, it echoes in yours. Your art doesn't need your perfect self, it needs your real self. You bring the heartbreak, the doubt, the loneliness, the anxiety, the imposter syndrome. Don't wait for those feelings to go away. Bring them with you into the work. That fear becomes brushstrokes. That sadness becomes music. That anger becomes motion. This is the alchemy of creativity, turning wounds into wonder. Now, I know you admire polished creators, the pros, the perfect, the poised. But as I dug deeper, behind every great artist is a human who was once terrified to be seen. When fame hit Billie Eilish at a young age, her lyrics touched on her depression and anxiety and body image. Kendrick Lamar shares his trauma in mind-bending verses, and Tyler Mitchell often infuses his photography with softness and intimacy. Their work resonates because they didn't play it safe, and neither should you. Safe doesn't change lives, it doesn't start movements. Safe doesn't make someone laugh or cry. Most people live behind their emotional armor built from, "oh, I'm fine and everything's good." And that keeps you safe, but it also keeps you small. It muffles your voice, it sterilizes your art. If you want to create art that connects with people, stop building walls. Build bridges and let people in. Stand in front of your audience and say, "Here I am, broken, messy, flawed, but real." Because your art that you're afraid to share might just be the exact thing that someone needs to experience. Your art cannot exist without vulnerability, and the world can't heal without your art. So please, I urge you to take your mask off. Create with your whole heart. Nobody's perfect, so your art doesn't need your perfect self. It needs your real self. Your art needs you.